Hi guys and girls, welcome to my channel. My name is Mo Moon, that's short for Moharet, and the reason why is because I consider myself to be the mother of vampires, the queen of the damned. I will take over the queen of the damned because the queen of the damned died in Anne Rice's novels. So who better to take over than the original witch vampire, Moharet? So that was an epic introduction. I wanted to make this vampire entry a little more honest and a little more like spur of the moment. It's so hard to be genuine, when you're talking about something that people think is fantasy, and also it's hard to be genuine when for myself, that I have a label on me as being mentally ill, right? So I always like to fall back on the protection from getting flack from people or getting negative feedback from people by putting in the idea that, but vampires aren't real. And anyways, I have a mental illness that I suffer from. So perhaps it was something that I was suffering from in my mental illness and it wasn't reality. Because I have my own version of reality and you have your own version of reality, and that is true. But we're talking about my version of reality. So I guess I'll just start by saying that one time when I was lying in my bed, and I don't know how to describe these things because I know that in the psychic community, all these things have terms. And I've been watching a girl named Flavored Vivid, and she is a tarot reader here, as well as many other kind of psychic things that she knows. And so I'll leave her channel link, or not link, but her channel name up on the screen for you when I edit the video. But her name is Flavored Vivid, and she talks about telepathy. She talks about like, what's it called again? And she talks about a lot of things. So, but one of the things she talks about is telepathy. And it's interesting because I do believe that telepathy exists. And although I've learned that not everything that you hear, so to speak, not everything that I hear telepathically is something that needs to be paid attention to. That's the thing. You see, I hear just like the vampires. So in the vampire world, a vampire can close their mind off from being read by other vampires. But in the vampire world, a vampire can communicate telepathically with another. And I really do believe vampires exist. And I know that might be strange to say. And maybe you'll say, well, take some medication. Maybe your answer to me will be like, well, take medication, because obviously they don't. But for those of you who do believe vampires exist, this video is for you. So if you saw my other video, you realize that my first introduction to meeting a vampire was an energy form. And that the second time it was more of like a physical touch. Like it was more of like I was being touched by an energy and I felt it on my skin. And another time is what I keep thinking about now. Another time when I had experienced a vampire. Remember, this is all at night. So, vampires only come out at night. And I was lying in my bed alone in my room, and the lights were off and it was dark outside, and I saw a black figure. It was like a very like a blobby but long limb, long arms, but very much just the outline of a figure. And it was moving through my room, and it was making itself known to me. And I know that it had come in through my window, and it was making itself known to me, and it bent over and it got close to me to make itself more apparent to me. And I saw this vampire. And I don't know if it was the same vampire as all the other times, but I do know that at that time, also, I, I do believe that all the characters in Anne Rice's novels exist in some sense, like in the spiritual realm. And I do remember that also at one time I saw the spirit of Memnoch, the devil, who is not really a vampire. He's Lucifer, but at the time I didn't realize the difference. But I saw him, and I nodded to him because I recognized him in the human being that was walking by me. And another time I was lying in my bed and I felt something, some energy try to, it's almost like somebody was trying to take a spiritual stake and stab me in the heart. Now, I don't know if that would kill a vampire, because honestly I don't think it would, but I feel like somebody was trying to harm me while I was lying in my bed at night. And so I could feel energy coming towards me really, really strongly, almost like as if someone was coming with the energy of wanting to hurt me and jab a stake through my heart and kill me. And the energy actually reflected in my eyes, and I saw like an explosion of light flash out of my eyes at the same time that the energy was coming towards me. When it met me and my energy and my eyes, my energy repelled that negative energy that was trying to hurt me, and it equated to me seeing a yellowy explosion of light shooting through my eyes. Guys, I'm not joking. I experienced this. And I don't know why I'm saying that, because obviously, like, I know that it happened, and it's not like I'm thinking that I'm crazy for experiencing that, because as I said, this girl that I was speaking about earlier, Flavored Vivid, who I really appreciate her videos and I appreciate her honesty on YouTube and her vulnerability, she actually agrees that this kind of stuff exists. Telepathy exists. Certain things that I've described, like being touched by, spirit, someone else confirmed with me that that can actually happen and that they experience it themselves. And so I guess I just wanted to come on to YouTube today and just kind of do a vampire diary entry, I guess without even pulling any tarot cards really. I did take my tarot cards out, and I did want to pull a tarot card, but I guess I won't do that today. It's just a short little video, 7 minutes and 33 seconds. If you have ever experienced anything similar to this, and you actually believe that you are also a vampire, that's super cool, because I think that vampires exist. I really do. And I believe that I am one of the vampires. And of course, I don't go around all day thinking, oh, I'm a vampire, I'm a vampire, I'm a vampire, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's just a part of my spirit is connected to that undead spirit of the vampire, like I always call it. So anyway, sorry for not drawing a tarot card today, but I just wanted to put a quick little video out there. And for those of you who think that you're crazy because you've experienced stuff like this, I just want to assure you that it's not you're being crazy. It's actually a thing. And again, I'm mentioning this because I've had this confirmed by other people who that I don't think have mental illness, but even if they do, it could just be this idea that society has placed upon people who experience these things such as telepathy or whatever, and the society tells us that that stuff is not true, and they try to label people who experience those things as being mentally ill and as those things being fake, that they're existing, and they like to chalk these things up to scientific names. Let me just share one more thing. This doesn't really have anything to do with vampires, I don't think, but then maybe again it does, because it's coming up in this video. But and this is a vampire diary entry. So let's say that this is what I experienced. I'm not just saying this. I experienced this the other day, where I think it was I was astral projecting myself. I think I was, but at the same time, I was sleeping, right? So I think you might have seen these pictures where you see the picture of a person sleeping, and you see them wrapped in like an embryo sac with like an umbilical cord going up, and then you see another version of them, the same one but in a different color, wrapped in an umbilical sac connected to the bottom version. And the bottom one is their physical body, and when they sleep, they kind of astral project connected to their body through the umbilical cord. They kind of float over their body while they're sleeping. So so your body becomes kind of like, it's, I guess they call it paralysis. Like your body kind of doesn't move when you're sleeping. Like I guess it's connected to your brain. Like your brain won't tell your body to move, or maybe you just move through like reflexes. I don't know, like when you want to scratch or turn in the bed or whatever. But I know sometimes I've tried to move in my bed while I was sleeping, and I felt like I've been held down, like something has been holding down my chest, and I couldn't get up. So like I don't know what that is, but that's some kind of experience, and maybe they could say that that's some sort. There's a scientific name to that. But what I'm trying to talk about is the fact that the other day I was sleeping, and I could feel. I don't think I was astral projecting, but I do think that I must have been floating above my body, like in that picture that I described where there was the umbilical cord. So my body was asleep, and I knew that at the time that this was happening, something was pulling my spirit. I could feel physically being pulled on this side of my body, on the left side of my body. I could feel something pulling the left side of my body. It's almost like my shoulder wanted to go backwards. And as I was pulling, all of a sudden, I heard deathly silence. I heard it sounded deathly silent in everything in my body. It sounded like a vacuum, and I heard some sort of sound, like something communicating, but like outside of myself. And it's almost like I heard a conversation, a quick conversation, like on a radio. And the conversation was not supposed to be heard by me, but it's almost like they were trying to pull me out of my body while my body was asleep. And for a second, I wasn't in my body. All I heard was a vacuum, and I heard this radio sound for a split second, speaking like that in my ears. And in my head, I knew I was sleeping. I knew I was asleep. And so I was awake, right? Because I was telling myself, you're sleeping. So my mind was awake, but I knew that my body was sleeping. And then all of a sudden it came back into my body. And it's almost like I have to equate it to the idea that I was ready to die. Like that's how it felt. It felt like if you're going to take my soul right now, I'm at peace with it. But when I woke up, I remember thinking, if I was dead at this point, my boyfriend would not be ready for this. I pictured my mom wailing out of sorrow that I was dead at such a young age. And I remember thinking, I don't want to die. I don't. But I remember thinking, if I die, all I felt when I came back was that what was waiting for me on the other side was love and peace. And that I wasn't afraid of that happening again, even though I didn't want to experience it in my body because it was really uncomfortable for my physical body. I know that if I had actually left completely and been cut off from that umbilical cord, that I would be free from the ache of the body. And I almost remember looking at my dead body. It's funny how so many things can happen in such a split second. I remember thinking, that poor girl, I hope she'll be taken care of. It's like I was talking about myself outside of my spirit. And I knew that the body was, it's almost like I knew that that girl was dead, and that girl was me, and that she was dead. And I was saying, I hope she gets taken care of. But it was almost like I was saying, I hope that they treat her body with respect, because I worked as a PAB in the hospital for 10 years. And I've seen dead bodies because I wrap the dead bodies and I bring them down to the morgue. But I've heard of situations where people do not respect human beings. Like, let's say they're giving them CPR. They're really rude when they're talking about the person and they're giving them CPR, trying to bring them back to life. And I'm like, if I was this person that you were giving CPR to, I wouldn't want to come back to this world with people like you trying to revive me, you know? And so I've seen and I've heard things in the hospital where I don't see respect for human life all the time. I don't always see it. I see it frequently, but a lot of the times I don't see the respect. And so I remember thinking, I hope her body will be treated with respect. Because whenever I used to wrap the dead bodies, I would always bring a spirit of respect to the room. And we never wrap the dead bodies alone. We always wrap them two people. Usually that's the rule. But so I always like when at the time I wasn't really following the same path, so I would do the Stations of the Cross when I would see the body, and then I would just be as respectful as if they were still alive. You know, I would respect them just as if they were alive and I was taking care of them, and I didn't want them to think I was a horrible person, you know, because I feel like somewhere out there their spirit could still see that body, and that they were thinking just like I was thinking when I saw myself in that split second lying dead in the bed. I know that they're thinking, I hope this person will treat my body with respect. And I know that vampires in the Anne Rice novels don't always treat their their dead victims with respect, but I think that's what separates the energy vampires from the good vampires. I know that people talk about energy vampires quite frequently, but I don't equate myself with being an energy vampire in that way. And maybe this is a new idea that I'm putting out there, but maybe there's that idea that not all energy vampires are there to suck the goodness out of you and to use you for everything that they can get from you. It's just like not all people become victims to the vampires, right? And some of the people that become victims to the vampires are brought into that vampiric life because it was meant for them. Spirit knows it was meant for them. It's just like, homophobics who think that if they meet a homophobe, if they meet the homophobe, okay, so the homophobe meets a homosexual person. I don't know if that's okay to call it that, but I'm sorry if I said something wrong. But let's say they meet a gay person, okay, and they think that that gay person will automatically find them attractive, want to hit on them, and have sex with them. And it's like, no, just because the person finds this man attractive doesn't mean they'll find you attractive, you know? It's the same thing. Just because the vampire takes this victim doesn't mean that he'll take you as a victim as well. You know, that's not how it works. And I think I've said this before, that the longer a vampire lives, the less they need the blood to survive. So some vampires barely take any human blood at all, you know? So that's the thing. Moharet is a very old vampire. So I don't need your energy to survive, you know? I have my own energy, and I get my energy from source and from spirit. And so maybe that's a little tidbit about myself for you. But I guess this video ended up being a little while longer, 10 minutes longer. Comment down below if you find this interesting. I'm sorry again that I didn't draw a tarot card, but I'm not in the mood to start using my intuition to read a picture at this moment. I just kind of wanted to put a YouTube video out there for you guys. I hope you enjoyed. Comment, like, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.